I knew the kid wouldn't last a week. Saw it the second he stepped out of that beat-up truck, long legs swinging free like he'd never set foot on a stud farm before. He stopped, shoving a hand through that dark blonde hair, wild as the colts we break, green hazel eyes raking over my land like he couldn't decide if it was a prize or a punishment. Too damn gorgeous for this rough life. Hit me like a kick from a stallion, square in the chest. Not just his looks, though hell, that jaw could slice through leather, and those lips, full and taunting, belonged in some city dream, not here where men were forged by sun and strain. He moved like he owned every glance thrown his way, not cocky but certain, a shine dust couldn't touch. That face could stop a herd mid-gallop, that mouth whispering trouble I didn't need. And those eyes, sharp, steady, meeting mine like he wasn't fazed, not by me, not by this place. It rattled me, didn't mean he'd last. City boys rolled in with fantasies, breaking horses as some grand adventure, sweat to prove their mettle. I'd seen him buckle and bolt too many times. Jesse Carter? Those hands, smooth as a colt's flank, wouldn't hold up under reins or regret. I leaned on the porch rail, arms folded tight, watching him stride up. Stubborn as I am, I'd already sized him up and written him off. "Jesse Carter?" I barked, voice hard. "Yes, sir," he shot back, quick, unfazed. "Sir." That was new. The hands just grunted my name, Wyatt, when they weren't bitching about my rules. "You ever worked a stud farm?" A beat, too long for my liking. "No, but I learned fast." I snorted, loud and deliberate. Heard that before. Fast didn't cut it when a horse threw you or the heat broke you down. "Why here?" I demanded, blue-gray eyes narrowing, 56 years of skepticism bearing down. He paused, just a flicker. "Needed a change." Bullshit answer. I could have pressed, dug into whatever he was dodging, but I didn't bother. His mess wasn't my load. All I cared was if he'd crack when the real work hit. And him? I'd bet my last bail he wouldn't. Still, I needed hands. "Fine," I growled, jerking my head toward the barn. "Fine, Charlie. He'll sort you." Jesse nodded, sharp and sure, turning away like he had something to prove. Sun hit him then, lighting that jaw like a blade, sweat glistening at his throat like a dare. I looked away, stubborn as ever. Kid wouldn't last a week. I gave him 3 days. That's how long greenhorns lasted before the truth reared up. This wasn't some cowboy tale. Breaking horses was brutal, the sun merciless, and the beasts didn't care if you were new. They'd buck you off till you learned or left. Jesse didn't swagger in. He tripped, boots catching dirt, hands fumbling reins, nearly spilling grain his first dawn. He had the frame, lean, muscled, a fighter's build, but no damn clue how to use it. Charlie and the boys laughed like jackals. "City boy, you ever touched a horse?" Charlie taunted, leaning on the fence as Jesse wrestled a bridle. Didn't look up. "Yeah, birthday pony." They howled, but Charlie grinned. "Tie some ribbons on Boone, let him prance." I waited for him to snap, quit right there. Instead, he rolled those eyes, green as new pasture, and kept at it, steady as hell. That threw me. Then he pushed it. Fourth morning I heard the chaos, hooves thumping, shouts, a thud that shook the dirt. I knew it before I saw him. Jesse, flat in the dust, coughing, while Boone, that wild-ass stallion he shouldn't have touched, reared in the pen, snorting victory. The hands jeered. "Carter, you trying to die?" Hardest tumble since Luke rode drunk last winter. Jesse lay there, chest heaving, staring at the sky like he was cursing his own guts. I stomped over, voice like steel. "Get up." He groaned, pulling to his elbows, hair a mess, dust on that sweat-slick skin, a scrape on his arm I didn't want to care about. "Told you Boone ain't broke," I snapped. "What were you thinking?" He wiped his mouth, eyes hitting mine, stubborn, alive. "Needed to learn." I glared, unyielding. "You don't learn by breaking your damn neck, Carter." He stood, wincing, brushing off his jeans. "Worked for you, didn't it?" The hands chuckled. Charlie snorted. "Cocky bastard." But I saw how he eyed Boone, jaw set, unbowed. He wasn't running. Maybe I'd misjudged. I don't know when I stopped expecting him to bolt. Maybe when he beat Charlie to dawn, ready before I barked. Or when I caught him late in the barn, oiling tack by lantern light, cussing a buckle but not quitting, hands steady despite my doubts. Or maybe it was that Mustang, a beast, wild, untamed, kicking at anyone who neared. I'd tried, stubborn as I am, and got nowhere. So when I saw Jesse by his pen, forearms on the rail, just talking low, I damn near dropped my load. The Mustang wasn't bucking, wasn't rearing. He listened, ears flicking to that calm voice. I stepped up, gruff. "You climbing in there?" "Nope," he said, not turning, cool as a breeze. "Had a dog once, mean as sin, bit everyone but me. Dad wanted him gone, but I waited him out. Showed him I wasn't the enemy." I crossed my arms, stubborn habit. "That dog a Mustang?" He laughed, soft, real, tugging at me. "Nope, but trust's trust." Damn kid. I should have scoffed, another fool with big ideas, but he wasn't preening. He was just there, steady, and the Mustang listened. Respect crept in. I shoved it down. It grew slow, a burr under my saddle I couldn't shake. Little things I couldn't call out without sounding soft, but they were real. Jesse working beside me, sleeves up, sweat shining on those forearms, strong, alive, dust tracing a face too damn fine for this life. The glances he threw when he thought I was blind, green eyes catching mine like a hook. His laugh loosening up, sharp and warm, pushing back when the hands jabbed. And the touches. Accidents, I told myself. His arm grazing mine in the barn, lingering too long. Fingers gripping my wrist to steady himself, firm as iron. Leaning close when I showed him a knot, breath hot on my jaw, too hot, too near. Nothing, I swore, stubborn as a mule, but it pulled, a rope fraying, ready to snap. Then the storm hit. Sky turned black fast, wind howling, clouds swallowing everything. Stud farm storms don't play. If you're out there, you're meat. Charlie saw it first. "Where's Carter?" My stomach dropped. He'd been checking fences. My call, my fault. Now rain lashed, and he was caught. I didn't think. Saddled up and rode, stubborn pride driving me. Found him in the thick of it. Horse jittery, him soaked, mud streaking that face, eyes cutting through the chaos. "Carter, what the hell?" I roared over the wind. "Lost the trail," he shouted. "Not riding blind." Smart. I wanted to curse him, but relief hit harder. "Come on," I yelled, pulling alongside. He hesitated, eyes locking mine through the rain, like he was testing me. I grabbed his arm, stubborn grip, but he shook me off, steady as stone. Back at the ranch, we stumbled in, soaked and heaving. Jesse shivered, a scrape on his arm, nothing much, but I couldn't let it go. Told myself it was just patching him up. Sat him on a hay bale in the barn, his wet shirt clinging to that frame, arm on my knee as I cleaned the cut. Too close. His breath hitched when I pressed down, a sound that shook me. "Hold still," I growled, stubborn mask on. "Not easy with you pawing me," he teased, low, unshaken. I huffed, fighting how his voice stirred me. Silence fell, heavy as the storm. He watched me, eyes piercing my armor. I felt it, the shift. Like facing a stallion too wild to tame. My hands stilled, his gaze on them, too long. "Wyatt," he said, quiet, steady. I should have pulled back, barked about work. I didn't. Held his arm, feeling his pulse. Our eyes met, and I couldn't look away. He smirked, slow, knowing, like he'd been waiting. Should have broken me free. Didn't. Made me wonder how long I could hold out. I told myself it was nothing. My hands on him, just habit. His breath hitching, just the cut. Almost believed it. Till morning. Woke early, dark still, his eyes haunting me. Barn too quiet when I'd left, his smirk too damn sure. Too real. I wasn't green. 56 years, hurt once deep, I'd locked that door. Too old for this, too rugged, too closeted. Jesse was cracking it open. I dodged him all morning, gruff orders, work my shield. But he wouldn't let it lie. Afternoon, I'd riled him. Saw it in how he brushed Boone, sharp, deliberate, ignoring me. I checked the feed, pretending I didn't see his tension. "You're avoiding me," he said, no question. I kept my voice hard. "Don't know what you mean." He laughed, low, cutting. "Bullshit." I turned, arms crossed. Mistake. His eyes burned, unyielding. "You're not subtle," he said, stepping close, voice dropping. "I see it. You feel it." Words hit like a brand. Should have shut him down. Stood there, fists tight, fighting myself. "So, Wyatt," he murmured, "what are you scared of?" Damn him for knowing. Should have walked. But he pushed. "Coward," he said, low, a blade in my ribs. I spun, close fast. "Watch it." "No," he snapped, unflinching, anger hot. "You feel it, but you'd rather rot in your stubborn shit than admit it." My jaw ached, clenched tight. "You don't know me." "That's the problem," he shot back. "You won't let me." It broke. Everything I'd held, splitting open. "Too old for this," I growled. "For you." "Bullshit." I scrubbed my face, stubborn wall up. "You're young, Jesse. This ain't real. You'll see." He went still, hurt flashing. "That what you tell yourself? I'll just leave?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. He stepped back, voice cold. "You don't get it." "Let it go," I said, hard. He didn't. Looked at me like I'd failed him. Walked away. Next, he was packing. A duffel in the bunkhouse. Ice gripped me. "What the hell?" "What's it look like?" he said, not turning. I slammed the door. "You running?" "Funny," he said, bitter. "Asking you that." "Stop it," I snapped. He turned, tired, done. "You don't want me here, so I'm gone." Panic clawed me. Should have stopped him. Watched him zip up and push past. Biggest mistake I'd ever made. He got to his truck. Rain spit, then poured, the storm breaking wild and untamed. He tossed his bag into the passenger seat, hands shaking. Not from fear, but from a fury I could feel crackling in the air between us. I should have let him go, let him be someone else's storm to weather. Couldn't. My boots crunched gravel, closing the distance fast, driven by a stubborn ache I couldn't name. "Jesse," I growled, voice rough with something I'd buried too long. He yanked the driver's door open, ignoring me, his back a wall of defiance. Then he turned, sharp and sudden, and before I could think, I grabbed his shirt, fingers fisting the wet fabric, and pulled him into me, kissing him hard, brutal, a desperate claim I hadn't planned. My lips crashed against his, tasting rain and rage, a hunger I'd locked away for decades spilling out in that single reckless move. Jesse froze, stunned, his body stiffening for a heartbeat, shock flashing in those green hazel eyes as they widened, caught off guard by the fire I'd unleashed. Then he broke loose, a wild spark igniting, his hands seizing my shoulders as he kissed me back, fierce, unyielding, matching my desperation with his own. A deafening crack split the night, lightning striking a tree nearby, the boom reverberating through my bones as the trunk splintered, sparks flying into the deluge. Rain burst harder, a savage torrent lashing us, wilder than before, turning the ground to mud beneath our boots. I pulled back, gripping his arm, yanking him from the truck he'd been climbing into. "Too damn dangerous to drive in this," I shouted over the storm, my voice hoarse, stubborn resolve kicking in as I tugged him away from the open door. He resisted for a split second, then twisted free, his hand clamping around my wrist, firm, unyielding, a grip that brooked no argument. "Move, Wyatt, now!" he barked, voice cutting through the chaos like a blade, dragging me toward the stable with a strength that flipped the reins from my hands to his. I stumbled, old habit flaring, fighting the pull, but his hold was iron, hauling me in like a colt to the bit, his will overpowering mine as the storm raged around us. Inside, lantern light danced, air thick with hay and heat. Jesse stood, rain dripping from that hair, shirt plastered to every line, lean, powerful, unbreakable. The weekend had emptied the ranch. Charlie and the boys gone off to town or scattered home, leaving the stud farm quiet under the brewing storm. It was just us, the hand's absence a rare gift, the stable hours alone with no eyes to pry or boots to stumble in. The wind howled outside, masking any sound, and in that secluded pocket of Saturday night, the weight of their absence unshackled us, the space ripe for what was coming. "God damn," I rasped, voice rough with awe, hands gripping his shoulders, taut, alive, sparking something deep in me I'd buried for years. He grinned, breathless, lips brushing my ear with a low growl that sent a shiver through me. "Love this. A man who's real, all grit and heat," he murmured, his words cracking me open, stripping my defenses bare. I pulled him closer, desperate, like a man starved for something he couldn't name. His lips found my chest, a fierce kiss that drew a groan from me, echoing in the stable. I pressed my mouth to his neck, a light graze, and he shuddered, eyes flaring with wildfire, breath hitching, setting my pulse racing. We shed our soaked clothes in a frantic rush, denim hitting the floor like a storm's aftermath. Our bodies pressed close, heat radiating between us, raw and undeniable. I felt him, strong, unyielding, his touch a revelation that broke through decades of drought. His breath caught as I held him, a jolt of connection rocking us both, deep and primal. He mirrored me, hands firm, teasing out a wild response that had me trembling, a stallion breaking free. "Turn!" he barked, voice sharp with need. I bristled, stubborn as ever. "No." "On your knees," he snapped, eyes blazing, and I froze, then gave in, dropping down, stunned by my own surrender, body humming with anticipation. He moved fast, hands on me, a shock of heat that ripped a moan from my throat. He grabbed saddle oil, its earthy scent thick in the air, and poured it cool over my skin, a slick promise. He pressed closer, firm and relentless, pulling me back with a possessive growl. And I couldn't fight it, my body yielding, craving him like it had waited forever. Filling the space between us with a jolt that shattered me, a cry escaping as waves of intensity flooded through. Each motion rocked me, steady and hypnotic, like a rider taming a wild mount. "On your back," he ordered, voice rough. I resisted, pride flaring, but he flipped me effortlessly, pinning me down, green hazel eyes locking mine, fierce, beautiful, undeniable. "Submit," he said. "We both want this." Stripping me bare with every move. Our gazes fused, green piercing blue-gray, a bond snapping into place, wild spirits colliding in the storm. "You're mine, Wyatt," he snarled, voice raw, shattering my last wall. The pressure built, overwhelming, unstoppable, and broke, a roar tearing from me as I lost myself in him. He followed, red-faced and frantic, a shuddering wave crashing through him, sealing us together in a moment too real to deny. We collapsed, hay prickling against our sweat-slick skin, clinging to us like a lover's insistent touch, his arms enveloping me in a possessive, unyielding embrace that anchored me to the earth. His breath, hot and ragged, grazed my neck, a primal rhythm that synced with the storm's relentless roar outside, a wild, untamed echo of the tempest we'd unleashed within, its ferocity still pulsing through my veins. The lantern flickered, casting shadows that danced over his bare form, every muscle taut and glistening, a testament to the raw power we'd surrendered to, and I felt the weight of it settle deep, too heavy, too real. Morning light crept through the stable's weathered cracks, soft and golden, spilling over Jesse beside me, bare, steady, a vision of unshaken certainty sprawled across the hay. His chest rose and fell with a calm I couldn't grasp, his skin still flushed from the night, a map of our collision I couldn't unsee. I pulled away, inching back as stubborn fear rose like bile in my throat, doubt clawing at me, whispering I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross, that this was wrong, a mistake born of weakness I'd sworn never to indulge again. My hands trembled, the ghosts of old wounds stirring, telling me to run, to bury this before it broke me like before. He caught my wrist mid-retreat, his grip firm, unapologetic, that damn smirk curling his lips, cocky, knowing, a lifeline I didn't want to need. "Where you going, old man?" he teased, voice low and steady, cutting through the chaos in my head like a blade through fog. "Jesse," I started, voice rough, cracked with the weight of my hesitation, the urge to pull back and rebuild my walls nearly choking me. "Don't," he cut in, sharp and sure, his green hazel eyes pinning me with a fierce clarity that stripped my defenses bare. "Don't you dare doubt this, Wyatt. No regrets. Not for you, not for us. You're too damn stubborn to see it, but this—" He gestured between us, his hand tightening on my wrist, pulling me closer. "This is you, true and real, not some shadow you've been hiding behind. I'm not letting you run from it, from me." I exhaled, a shaky breath escaping as his words sank in, battling the storm of uncertainty roiling inside. My chest tightened, caught between the fear of falling again and the pull of his certainty, his heat, his unshakable faith in what we'd done, what we were. He pulled me down, slow, deliberate, his lips warm and insistent against mine, a kiss that wasn't just desire, but a vow, no running, no turning back. His breath mingled with mine, his scent, sweat, rain, and something fiercely alive, flooding my senses, grounding me. His hand slid to my neck, fingers threading through my gray hair, holding me there as if he could tether my soul to his, refusing to let me slip into the abyss of doubt. And in that moment, with the storm still rumbling beyond the stable walls, I felt it, the truth of us, undeniable, pulling me back to him, to myself. Months passed. He stayed, broke me in slow, a steady hand gentling a wild horse, until the fight in me softened to something new, something true. That first night in the stable sparked a fire that didn't die. Afterward, we'd stumble to the main house, my house, sex igniting again and again in the shadowed intimacy of my room, fierce and tender on the creaking bed, a wildfire we couldn't douse. He'd stay after, too spent to trek back to the bunkhouse, his bare skin pressed to mine beneath the quilts, breath slowing as the night deepened outside. Those nights grew frequent, his presence weaving into my days like a thread I hadn't known I'd craved, boots scuffed and muddy by my door next to mine, tools tangled with my own in the barn, his shadow falling beside me in the corral like he'd tamed me for good. The stud farm hummed with its usual chaos, colts kicking up dust, the hands hollering over the wind, but Jesse was the steady heartbeat beneath it all, a rhythm I couldn't escape. It started subtle, him lingering after supper, sprawled on my porch with a beer, his laughter cutting through the dusk like a warm blade. Then it was nights of passion in my bed, his gear seeping into my space, a shirt slung over the bedpost, a razor on the sink, his scent of sweat and leather blending with the wood smoke of my life. One evening, after a bruising day breaking a mare, and another night losing ourselves in each other on my mattress, he didn't leave. No point trudging back, he said, green hazel eyes glinting with that cocky certainty, and I didn't argue, couldn't, not with him already so woven into me. By week's end, he'd moved in, his boots claiming a corner of my room, his body a nightly constant in my bed, a permanence that sank into my soul. Having him there every night became my comfort, my sanctuary, the closeness of his heat against me, his steady breaths a lullaby, the love and tenderness in his touch a balm to the solitude I'd worn like armor for years. The other hands noticed. Charlie's brows shot up first, a sidelong glance over the feed bins, Luke muttering low to the others, their eyes flickering with questions I'd dreaded. I'd been scared shitless of what they'd think. 56, grizzled, closeted so long I'd forgotten how to breathe free, now with this city boy staking a claim on me, body and soul. My gut twisted, old fears whispering they'd turn cold, shut me out. But Jesse's confidence never wavered. He strode through their stairs like he owned the damn place, clapping Charlie on the shoulder, joking with Luke till they grinned despite themselves. His ease pulled me back from the brink, rebuilt my spine, his hand brushing mine in plain sight, unapologetic, until I stopped flinching. Soon, the hands shrugged it off, Charlie tipping his hat one morning with a gruff, "Whatever keeps the boss mellow," and that was that, acceptance settling in, quiet and sure. Life shifted, mornings with coffee shared in silence, his hip nudging mine as we saddled up, evenings unraveling beside the fire with his head on my shoulder, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my chest, the stud farm's pulse syncing with ours. One dusk, we stood by the pasture, horizon bleeding gold, horses nickering soft in the fading light. He grinned, that familiar spark in his eye. "Told you I'd stay." I laughed, looser than I'd been in years, the sound free. "Always gotta be right, huh?" "Only with you," he murmured, stepping close, his breath warm against my jaw, his hand sliding to my waist, a promise in every touch. I pulled him in, kissing him slow and deep, his lips yielding, then pressing back, a dance of love we'd perfected. His now, mine too, and as the last light dipped below the hills, his body pressed to mine, I felt it, the wild in me fully broken, not by force but by him, steady, sure, tender, and here for good, the comfort of his love the truest thing I'd ever known. Well, folks, that's the story of how Jesse Carter rolled onto this stud farm and turned my world upside down, breaking horses, breaking rules, and maybe breaking me in ways I didn't see coming. From that first dust-choked tumble to the storms that changed everything, it's been one hell of a ride. If you liked hearing how a city boy and a stubborn old bastard like me found something real out here in the grit and heat, then smash that like button. Let me know you're along for this wild corral. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that red button and join the crew. Ring that bell too so you don't miss a single upload. Trust me, you won't want to be late to the next roundup. Drop a comment below. What'd you think of Jesse sticking it out? Think I misjudged him from the start? Or just tell me your favorite moment. Thanks for riding with us. See you in the next one. Till then, keep your boots in the dirt and your eyes on the horizon.